to build the best football team in the SEC conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyree Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Thompson fires the ball over the middle. It's Zook! It's Zook! Got a touchdown! Zook got a touchdown! Oh, man! Zook's got a touchdown!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium in Gale. It's your favorite Uncle Corey. You heard?
It's not everybody's favorite Dan.
It's no story.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm
Oh,
just
man.
keeping my head above the water and
no,
away from Dan's mentions.
Yeah. Sorry
Very
if I
smart.
made you
Very
mad.
smart. You guys gonna
I
say
love
names?
that. I love that blanket. I love that blanket. Sorry if I made you mad.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even have any idea what we're talking about. We're just going to leave it at that. So I
That's
upset
smart.
a number of people, and I do apologize that I made you upset.
Yeah. What are you doing? Have an opinion? That's crazy.
Speaking of which, we got a lot to talk about today. We have two interviews. We have Colby Newton, who wrote a book about the history of the SEC. We're excited to talk to him. We're excited to talk to Swamp Kings superstar Stephen Harris and national champion. Boys,
Yes, sir.
but before we do that, just so we can make sure our friend gets the right timestamp to tell everybody how to jump through our weekend. How was everybody's weekend?
My weekend was grand, man. I had a good time. Had an interview with Deontay Thompson, was absolutely fire. I can't wait to drop that this Thursday.
Who's a better interviewer, that D Thompson or this D Thompson?
I think he got you, Dan. Like
Okay.
he brought some juice and some stories that Swamp Kings didn't have, and just all together like some great storytelling from that dude. I was surprised at how well he spoke and story told. Just to be real, like not on nothing like, not like I told him that like bro, like he's very good. I did
Were you
Crowder like 2 weeks
you were
ago.
you were like from muck baby to muck baby. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
how well
correct.
you-
Yeah, he got what I was saying. We from the same spot, man. It was a lot of like nostalgia with Belglade, but beautiful conversation. But I had an interview with Crowder 2 weeks ago, and we all know how like well Crowder tells stories, how funny he is. Deontay is up there, and it was one of the best conversations that I ever had. And kids fishing, like my son has gotten like the rod tied up 30 times a day, bro. The first day of really summer was today. I untangled fishing rods really all day, like I was his spotter or something, man.
Yeah.
But he cannot
first
keep
mate.
that thing untangled. So that's been the vibes, man. Same old.
Nick, you were on heaven's. You were in heaven's waiting room for during the week, death's doorstep, but you survived. Good.
My lovely wife brought home a flu after visiting with family. So my flight was booked, leaving Orlando, miserable MCO airport at 10 a.m. Thursday. Started throwing up like at 10 p.m. Wednesday. And that didn't stop until Friday. Just caught a nasty flu. So I'm here in Gainesville.
You let a flu do that to you? A flu did all that to you, bro?
I'm telling you what.
I'm not Jordan Bates. Listen, I still covered all 5 games. I covered 5 games in 4 days just from
Straight from the couch.
Yeah.
Now I'm in the new studio where the AC broke today. So if there was anything left in my body, it will be sweat out because Florida is uninhabitable without air conditioning.
You missed a cool town, Nick. Stillwater, small but cool. Stillwater. I celebrated. Celebrated is in quotations. I was there for my 23rd birthday. I sat at Eskimo Joe's at the bar by myself. I was there on a work trip. but it's a cool little town. So hopefully you'll be able to make it up to Clemson, South Carolina this weekend and watch the Gators in the Super Regional, which just finished just a few minutes ago. Boys, the reason I ask is because I wanted to brag on myself for I shot an 80 today or on Saturday golfing.
Okay.
So we're one stroke away. I've been told that many times in my life. Just one stroke away.
You gotta say that a little faster, man. I was trying not to be childish, but let that hang.
From breaking 80, which has been a 7 or 8 year process for me. So I know nobody listens for my golf talk, but I wanted to shout out Longboat Key Club for helping me get to 80, and then we're going to run it back this Saturday to try to break it.
Did you miss your putt for 79?
No, I didn't. I made a par. There's a couple shots along the way that I would like back, as anybody would. But overall, very, very proud of.
Honestly, we might need to do this. If we might need to fire it back up the Patreon every time Dan goes to golf. I will, as a journalist, give him the post-round press conference, and we will record the press conference. No punches pulled.
Okay.
We gotta get some cameras around him, man. Make sure he ain't doing mulligan shots, man, to get to that.
Well, listen, Dan's out there. There's definitely some breakfast balls.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to count how many sleeves of golf balls Dan goes to the course with. How many leaves without.
Some accountability, man. That's all we're asking for.
Accountability.
This was the very first time in my entire life of playing golf that I played with one golf ball the entire round. That's
impressive.
But
I need about 3 sleeves, man. I'm gonna be real with y'all.
I am not gonna say that I will consistently shoot an 80. The next round, it could be an 87, 88, right? We're working there. Harrison, of course you've played there. Right? I mean, it only costs 6 figures to join, right?
Who is Harrison, man? Harrison, you hiring, bro?
All right.
Harrison.
We got a busy show.
Harrison, where's the super chat one time? One time.
All I'm asking is for that $10,000 super chat from Harrison.
The mayor of Gale.
I know a guy or two if you want to golf there, man. Just holler at me, man. I got you.
If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you guys for joining us today. Before we get into those interviews later today, we are going to talk about softball and baseball. Do want to talk. The Gators did land a quarterback from the class of 2026, Will Griffin from Tampa Jesuit here. He committed on Saturday afternoon on his Instagram Live. He is the number 8 quarterback and the number 108 prospect overall in the class of 2026. He's the first member of that 2026 class. Boys, big get for the Gators.
Sure.
Want to be able to go and get a flagship quarterback, and the Gators were able to do that early. What are your thoughts on Will Griffin?
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird sitting there watching a 16-year-old's Instagram Live.
Harrison Rockefeller is hilarious.
But this is your guy. I think Noah Grubbs, who committed to Notre Dame a little bit earlier, kid from just down the road, really wanted that Florida offer. Goes to show you kind of how the dominoes go. I think Billy Napier, it's going to be a preference thing. There's going to be a bunch of guys that Florida was in on, and they got the guy that they preferred. So you can look at Florida's record under Billy Napier. You can look at the games. This is another year, and I guess you're skipping 25, but you're still recruiting a quarterback in 25. But another quarterback who looks at Billy Napier, his plan, his offense, and what he's doing, and goes, yeah, I'm buying in on that.
Yeah, they sell it.
One of them is suing you right now. But in terms of recruiting, whatever Billy is selling quarterbacks, they're buying. Hand over fist buying.
Yeah. Billy got that za. Billy got that za. Yeah, good quarterback, bro. It's just to a lot of what Nick's saying. Another elite arm. Billy's doing his thing with selling it. He's 26, so it's out there, but just not to be racist or anything. He's a Caucasian quarterback, so he might stick. I don't expect him to flip or anything crazy like that. Just keep it a bean, man.
Only 33.333% of the podcast hosts can make that statement.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know, man. I haven't done the science of it, but I'm pretty sure whites flip a lot less. That's like
The science.
I haven't done the actual analytics and the data, but I like where we stand with quarterback position, man. I would like Antoine Hill in the 25 class. He was on campus, so we could close and kind of finish it up. But man, we got one of the best quarterback rooms in the country if we line this up and keep getting arms on campus. Because it takes a brave kid to come behind what we got going too. So like killers are seeing killers sign up and they still signing up. You right? So that's a good sign, man.
Yeah, no, speaking of Antoine Hill, got a couple quotes here from Corey Bender. Antoine Hill is a class of 2025 quarterback from Warner Robins in Georgia. He is between Memphis and Florida right now. I know that there's probably an eyebrow raise when you think of Memphis. There's a lot of NIL money over there. I know that there's an opportunity where they've been recruiting him very heavily. He said about his visit to the Gators on Ryan O'Hara and Billy Napier. His message to me was to keep weighing out all my options, take my time throughout these next couple months before I have to make my decision. Of course, he wants me to come to Florida and learn from him. And like he said in the car last night, he knows that they're recruiting me to take his spot on DJ Lagway. So I'm coming to take his spot, and he knows that. But at the end of the day, it's all brotherly love. I love DJ, and he loves me. So obviously, they're pitching the competition component of it. Obviously, the Gators are going to be in a position where they need to bring in some talent going into the 2025 season. Graham Mertz will have graduated, and you don't have much behind him in the way of high school recruiting. So Antoine Hill is that guy for the Gators, and hopefully he makes that decision soon. He has a commitment date likely of July 13th, and he's also going to be visiting Memphis here in the next couple of months as well.
While we talking quarterback, should we talk like DJ Lagway Gatorade commercial, which was absolutely fire, like dope for the program,
huge for the brand. I mean, you don't see a lot of high school quarterbacks. Maybe Caleb Williams had a national commercial. I'm just trying to think of anybody else that's really had a national commercial for them.
That was a beautiful setup, man. Imagine being 18, you're fresh on the Florida campus, and you're in commercials with Jordan and whatnot. Like, that's crazy to sell on the recruiting trail to quarterbacks as well. Like that type of exposure, the logo doing what he do. I like that's a good question. There was like some like commotion on Twitter about Antoine Hill's hotel room. What was that? That looked like a barrack, man. What
I
happened?
don't know. Well, I got
was he on the official or was it just like a regular visit?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if we know. Nick, do you know where they normally stay? I know they stay downtown. I know that they used to stay at the
Hotel
convention
Elo.
center.
It's not really. It's not downtown.
Oh, okay. Hotel Elo.
But it's a new.
Elo.
It's a new hotel over by Shands. I think it's actually over by where my baby will be born.
Oh yeah, no, it sure is. Looking at it now, I mean, I think it might have been a plaster issue. There could have been an issue with the room. Something could have happened. I don't know. I mean, outside of that small plaster issue, it looked like a fine room, but I think people let trolls get to them.
Oh yeah. That's usually the vibe. People panic when the trolls get too heavy.
Yeah.
They start.
It's definitely not a room Harrison would stay in. You know what I mean?
You got to get out of there.
I do want to give a quick shout out to JP. JP, longtime listener, super chat says, it's been a minute since I checked in, but how about Dope Boy Billy and them Gators? Lies loading, not looking good for the anti-Billy crew. TD, Blue Orange, y'all in here. Takes looking like milk on a hot day. Thanks for a super chat, JP. And then
sometimes you just gotta come in and puff your chest, pound that chest.
Yeah, he dunked on a few people, but we gotta wait till the games get paid. JP, let's not get ahead of ourselves with
no. This is hype. This is hype season. This is
let's lie there.
Did you guys see that the ESPN FPI had the Gators number 20 in the country? Ahead of Miami.
Oh, I'm about to start lying for real. For real. No, I didn't really see that.
Yeah, they did that based on new additions as well as the transfer portal. Plugged that into their fancy algorithm. Have Gators number 20 in the country.
What's our over under right now?
5.5.
I don't like that.
No, it might even be 5 now. I know that the line moved slightly, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that they just think that the Gators are going to win 5 games. They're trying to draw some action as well. So
That's what I said last year, though, Nick. I mean, Dan.
Yeah.
So
then well, we all lied last season. Well, maybe not Nick.
I just need new lies. I want to tell the same lie I said last year about the 5 wins, bro. I need fresh
Let's give a quick shout because we've got 2 interviews. We're going to catch up about all this stuff after. But sure. Anthony Beck said it. How about them Gators, baseball and softball? Let's give a quick shout out to softball. Softball has advanced all the way to the semifinals of the Women's College World Series. We did.
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, go keep going with softball.
Okay.
My bad.
The Gators did advance to the semifinals of the Women's College World Series. They beat Oklahoma just a short time ago. They will play Oklahoma again. If they win that game, they will advance to the finals of the Women's College World Series. Shout out to them. Really, the last 3 months or so for them have just been on an absolute tear. I think if you were to look at the beginning of the season, you didn't think that they would have the team this season to advance this far, and their bats have come alive. Beat Alabama a couple days ago or yesterday, went out and absolutely destroyed Oklahoma in what is otherwise an Oklahoma home game there in Oklahoma City. So do want to congratulate the women's softball team. They will play again, and then if they win that, they will advance to the final of the Women's College World Series. And then baseball. Nick, give us the update. The Gators go to Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think Game 2 is the most important game in a regional. If you lose Game 1, you have to win Game 2 to stay alive. And if you win the first game, winning that second game means you only have to win one more time to advance out of the regional and go to a super. If you lose that second game, you have to win 3 more times, including beating a team that you've already lost to 2 games in a row. Florida loses to Oklahoma State in pretty convincing fashion on Saturday. Have to come back, play 2 games on Sunday. They do that. You need a hero performance or 2 when you go down into the losers bracket, and Florida got that from Brandon Neely, 5 2/3, 11 strikeouts on Sunday night against Oklahoma State. And then you kind of have a Johnny Holstaff whole bullpen game on Monday, and you go with a redshirt freshman, a true freshman, and then Fisher Jameson. And Fisher Jameson came in, and I think he faced 10 batters, retired all 10 batters he faced. A perfect 3.1 of relief. So Florida goes Clemente Menendez, Jameson. They win 4-2. This will be the 10th super regional Florida has been to under Kevin O'Sullivan out of 16 tries. So what's that, like 63% of seasons under Kevin O'Sullivan? Florida advances at least to a super regional. It's been a dominant program. It's been a frustrating season.
Yeah.
I've been called a liar.
Sure.
I've been called a liar because I said this team is good.
Rightfully so.
Like they are good. They've been frustrating because they're good and haven't played well.
What's up with the pitching? You like go ahead.
The pitching was good. Liam Peterson, the freshman who threw Friday night, has rounded into form. He's figured it out. Game has slowed down for him. Jack got hit a little bit, gave up some home runs against Oklahoma State, but he'll be fine. I think Pierce Capala continues to come around. But, for a guy who I still think has high MLB draft potential, he's only thrown, 18 innings coming into the regional. So he's still rounding into form. And then you got unbelievable performances out of the bullpen from Brandon Neely, and then the 2 guys today. So it looks like Florida is playing as one of the last teams in, probably one of the last 6 or 7 of the 64 teams picked. The Gators are hot. Reminds me of, I think it was 2015. Virginia was one of the last teams in. They went on a run and won a College World Series. In 2022, Ole Miss was literally the 64th team into the tournament, got hot, and won their school's first ever College World Series. Or I think it might have been Ole Miss's first ever championship. No, it was Mississippi State. Ole Miss's first baseball championship. So Florida's playing hot. They're on a roll, and unless I get the Black Plague again, I will be in Clemson, South Carolina. Beautiful Clemson. I'm gonna go
Did you give a shout out to Ashton Wilson, who came out of nowhere?
Yeah. Ashton Wilson transferred. This is kind of like Jonah Garand for the real baseball fans out there that remember him from 2019. Ashton Wilson transferred from Charleston Southern. Utility player, outfielder, can kind of play all three spots. But just a bench player. Florida loses Ty Evans to a broken wrist against Kentucky. They lose Hayden Yost to a torn ACL. Wednesday night practice before a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series at Georgia. So Ashton Wilson has to play. He has 6 hits on the season before the regional and was named the Stillwater Regional MVP with 9 hits. He's just a baseball player, a ball player. He does the little things right. Yesterday, tagged up on a shallow fly ball from second to third, and then scored one of Florida's runs on a ball that bounced in front of the catcher and was maybe 10 feet in front of the catcher.
Yeah.
He's just a ball player. He does the little things well. You need, the Hurston Waldrips, the Brandon Sproats, the Jack Cagliones, the Wyatt Langfords, but you also need guys who are just ball players that just do their job. Wyatt Langford was not only a superstar, but also a ball player. But yeah, tip of the hat to Ashton Wilson. It's hard. It's hard to go 54 games and get 6 at-bats and then, be asked to, hey, you're going to be a contributor and hit in the 3-hole behind Jack Caglione.
Yeah. The lucky they fly private so he doesn't have to check his nuts in, you know what I mean?
Might carry them things,
Oh,
man.
my
You
God.
gotta check those, bro.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. So the Gators will play Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Clemson. What do we know? What do we know about Clemson, Nick? Just straight off the dome.
Good team. It's an interesting park. I'm excited to go see it. They don't have a warning track. They have a hill. I know that. But a good team. I thought they would miss Billy Amick, who was their All-American third baseman, transferred to Tennessee. They clearly did not. They're hosting a super regional. So it'll be another tough 3-game series for Florida. You have to find a way to win on the road. And they have kind of been road warriors. Won 2 out of 3 at Georgia and just won 4 games on the road in Stillwater. So they're getting used to playing on the road. They haven't been at home in it seems like a month now.
Yeah. But in terms of this team, the amount of confidence that this must have instilled.
Yeah.
Because pitching was fantastic for the outside of the loss that they had. Pitching has been fantastic. They got themselves out of some sticky situations. Obviously the bats were flying as well, but it wasn't just home run ball. There was some smart base running, and then obviously Ashton Wilson had a fantastic series himself. So huge for the Florida Gators baseball team. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to the softball team.
They did well.
You got to start watching.
I stopped watching, and then they got.
It makes sense.
So
it makes sense. I mean, Nick stopped the baseball minute on the show.
He stopped lying, and they got better.
Shouldn't have talked about them right now.
Yeah, maybe we should have not done a whole segment on them boys.
Yeah. Nick, is that the new SEC hat that you're wearing?
Old. This is a retro.
Oh,
this is a vintage SEC hat.
Wow, before Texas A&M and Missouri.
Vintage, like 2009, something like that.
Like 2024 or 2023.
Oh, way back when.
Yeah, that's vintage now.
Way back when.
They dropped the new pinwheel, so this is vintage.
Oh my God, man.
We'll talk a little bit about that. Let's get a quick ad read before we welcome Colby Newton onto the show. Go visit our friends over at Homefield Apparel, homefieldapparel.com. Go visit them if you want the best retro logos of all Florida Gators sports. They've got track and field, they've got baseball, they've got football. They've got some cool stuff from the 80s in there as well. So go check them out. They also have the starter jacket. They also have the pullover baseball style jersey. So go check them out. Homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale will get you 15% off of your first order per that email address. So again, homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout, and you will get 15% off of your order. While we wait for Colby, the Gators did just get a decommitment from their class. The wide receiver, Abdullah, I believe he was ranked number 75 wide receiver in the country. Let me pull that up. But boys, any thoughts? You think this was just clearing out a little bit based on who Florida's been recruiting?
Yeah, Keith, it's funny. Keith Niebuhr, I was like sworn to secrecy, but was talking to me about this while I was on my deathbed last week. Just, reading his story right now a little bit. Details were limited, he said, but this was kind of seen as coming. He was the number 80 receiver in the country and the number 493 overall recruit in our On3 industry rankings. But I think it's Florida spending more time talking with and flirting with other receiver commits and a kid just either not feeling the love or kind of reading the writing on the wall.
Yeah. So again, 3-star Josiah Abdullah from College Park, Woodward Academy in Georgia, that he did decommit from the class. Silk, any thoughts before we bring Colby onto the show?
No, man. I think it's like mutual, probably good for the kid,
Yeah,
we should with the arms we're recruiting. We should have some top targets at wide receiver. So
absolutely. Well, while we let that fester a little bit, we do want to welcome on Colby Newton to the program. Colby, welcome to the show. Colby is the author of a new book coming out July the 16th called SEC Football: How a Regional League Became a National Obsession. Colby, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today, my friend.
Yeah, it's great to be with you guys. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes. It's a big deal.
Did you see my now vintage hat here, Colby?
Yeah, looks good.
He don't know the definition of vintage, Colby.
This is no longer the logo, Corey, so it's now vintage.
What's the time frame on vintage? There's no way that's vintage, bro. Like, what are we arguing here, man? Sorry to do this in front of company. Colby, what's up, man? How you doing? Nice to meet you.
I'm doing good. So
that Utah ball back there got me a little, PTSD. You Utah guy?
Last year.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, it was a 1-1 split, right? Utes lost in the swamp and didn't get it done up here last year.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. So Colby, wanted to chat. New book coming out. Like you mentioned, July 16th. You go through the history of the SEC and how it became, one of the dominant, if not, well, it is the most dominant right now brand in college football and probably college athletics as a whole. Talk to us a little bit about the premise of the book and maybe some interesting things that you found about its rich history.
Yeah, so I'm an outsider of the SEC, but a huge college football fan, and was in the bowl game industry for 15 years and had the opportunity to stand on the sidelines of some of the biggest games, BCS championship games in New Orleans and other bowl games as well. So just kind of started to look at what made the SEC what it is now. I think we kind of take for granted that it's the dominant conference, but how did this happen? And when you look at the last 30 years compared to the 30 years before, so 1960-ish to about 1990, there were 6 national championships won by the SEC. In the next 30 years, so 1990 until present day, there were triple that amount. They doubled the amount of number 1 NFL draft picks. They doubled the amount of Heisman Trophy winners. How did that happen? And was there a narrative story that would be interesting to tell, to explain to everybody, both inside the SEC and also from an outside perspective of what happened and what are the steps that led to that taking place?
What did you find out? Because it seems like the SEC has the most brand association to it from its member organizations and fans. You don't hear a lot of Big Ten chants. You don't hear a lot of ACC chants unless it's done in a kind of a trolling manner. Where do you think the connection became so prevalent with the SEC, where there's such a strong bind between the fans, the programs, and the conference itself?
That's a really good question. I went all the way back. The first couple of chapters lay out how the SEC was formed and some of the things that happened back even in the 1920s and 1930s. The biggest one was Alabama winning the Rose Bowl. They weren't even supposed to be invited to that. 5 or 6 teams from the North turned down the invitation, and Alabama wins that game. And on their train ride back, they had to stop in different cities. And one of the cities that they stopped in, the first one was New Orleans, and there were 5,000 students from Tulane that were there celebrating Alabama's win. So this passion for football in the South goes beyond just the teams, like you say, and is really a regional and conference affiliation, goes back 100 years. And so that's something that was fun to kind of discover and see that it hasn't always been that way with other leagues, like you said. And the SEC and the Big Ten have always kind of had this rivalry that goes back 100 years as well. The SEC made decisions going back to putting games on the radio in the 1930s that the Big Ten wouldn't do. We talk about that. We talk about bowl games being something the SEC really leaned into in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. The Big Ten refused to do that. And so those are, I think, really set the foundation for why the South cares so much about it. We talk a little bit about that there weren't a lot of pro teams in the South as well, like there were in the North. And that is something that I think paid or contributed a lot to that as well.
That's a SEC charter member, Tulane. Many people don't know that Tulane was one of the inaugural members of the SEC. It has to be just devastating to be a charter member of the SEC. And what conference is Tulane in? CUSA?
The
All-American?
They're in the AAC, right?
I don't know, but I don't know. That's the point. I don't know.
Wasn't Sewanee a charter member of the SEC too, or did I make that up?
They were. It's chartered with 13 members. Yes.
Yeah, think about Sewanee now, Nick.
Yeah.
I thought Sewanee was the team that Georgia beat and says that it was Florida to start the rivalry. But then again, that's the kind of passion you have in the SEC. You've got two of the flagship institutions in a conference can't even agree on the number of times their football teams have played a game.
Yeah, it's all part of it, right? It makes it great. We actually talk about that in the book a little bit and add Georgia Tech in there as well. Why these schools leave? It's unfathomable now. And they left for different reasons, but that was definitely a part of the foundation of where the SEC is today. They stuck at 10 members for so long, and I think that helped the conference. And then they obviously kicked off a lot of the conference expansion, which is a huge part of the book with South Carolina and Arkansas in the late 80s.
What is there anything unique you find about the University of Florida's presence in the SEC and how much we contributed to what it is now?
Huge part of the book is Steve Spurrier, as you can imagine, both as a player and as a coach. And there were a lot of really fun things that we discovered, and maybe Florida fans already know it. Again, kind of writing from an outsider's perspective of how Spurrier even ended up at the University of Florida. He was thinking about staying home and going to Tennessee. He thought about going to Alabama because of Bear Bryant and playing for Bear Bryant. And it was a U.S. postmaster that told the coach, Ray Graves, at the time to check out this skinny kid from Tennessee. And as everybody knows now, Spurrier went to Gainesville and fell in love with the community and the weather and all of that. And he also wanted to make a name for himself, which he wouldn't have done at Alabama. If Spurrier doesn't go to Florida, I don't know where the Gator program is right now, because obviously he goes, he wins a Heisman Trophy. They have a ton of success. And then he really didn't bring that success back until he came back as a head coach and uncovered some really cool stories there as well. One of them that maybe you guys already know is how he got Bob Stoops to be his defensive coordinator. He wanted Stoops. Stoops was an assistant at Kansas State at the time. He calls up the Kansas State offices and says, "This is Steve Spurrier. I need to talk to Bob Stoops." They wouldn't put him through. So he calls again. They still don't put him through. Well, knowing Spurrier, he's like, "All right, I'll figure something else out." He calls a third time and pretends to be someone else that he knows.
I like it.
That the receptionist will put him through.
Yeah.
So he says, "Hey, this is so-and-so." They put him through. He gets Stoops on the line. He says, "Stoops, this is Steve Spurrier. You need to come be my DC." And, kind of the rest is history. So a lot of little nuggets in there. That's kind of what the games are cool, but it's the stuff behind the scenes that I like to write about and that I discovered. So the SEC is not where it is today without Spurrier building that powerhouse in the 90s, because that was right after expansion happened. It was right after the championship game, which we look back on it now and we're like, yeah, no brainer. Nobody wanted the championship game inside or outside the conference. The coaches were furious about it, right? So Spurrier builds this powerhouse right at this time this stuff's going on. SEC on CBS is another big part of the book, and Florida was a huge, huge part of that. So foundation for the conference is a lot of Gator in it.
Yeah, for me, born in '88, into a Gator family, it was Spurrier Fulmer every September, and the course of who was going to play in Atlanta was almost decided in the third week of the season. But there's probably so many Steve Spurrier, Fulmer, of course Nick Saban, Les Miles names. There's a ton of characters. Was there a particular character that maybe stood out to you, whether it was from Florida or somebody else, as like, who is this person as you delved into them?
Spurrier's tough to beat. He's got a lot of really, really good stories in there. We talk a lot about Urban Meyer, how he ended up at Florida, how he got Tim Tebow. You guys might know the story of Tebow's on the phone telling Spurrier he's going to come to Florida, and the phone drops and he doesn't know if he's going to say he's coming to Florida or not. So little things like that. But I would say Roy Kramer, the commissioner in the 90s, is a character that I didn't realize had the grit that he had to stand up to everybody when they said, no, this is crazy. We're not doing a championship game. We're not going to expand. And he didn't care. And he just stood up and said, no, this is what we're going to do. And it's going to change this league. And it did. And if there's no Roy Kramer character, I mean, he's tabulating the BCS formula on his kitchen table to start when that whole thing came out. And so there's all these little things that Kramer did that really helped put the SEC above everybody else instead of just on the same line.
What else did you learn? And I know you mentioned Urban Meyer, and obviously, a lot of fond memories there too. He brought instant success, to the SEC as an outsider. What did you learn about Urban Meyer? Obviously, a lot of people have seen the stories. They saw Swamp Kings. They saw his kind of rise and demise, and then rise, and then demise, I guess, multiple times since then. But what did you find out about Urban Meyer that made him so successful to be able to put Florida back on the map as quickly as he did, or just about him as a person?
Yeah, the two things that stand out, and this isn't going to be news to anybody, is his work ethic. His work ethic was world famous. One of the funny stories that I uncovered was when he was a brand new assistant in the Midwest, and Nick Saban got the head coaching job in Ohio and at Toledo, and Urban called up Nick Saban out of the blue with no prior knowledge of him. Didn't talk to him. Talked to Miss Terry, Nick Saban's wife. Felt like he'd convinced her that he was going to get a job on his staff, and Saban came home and his wife told him about this kid, Urban Meyer, and he never called him back. And so it's like little things like that nothing was going to stop him from building the program that he knew he could build at Florida. And the other thing is recruiting, right? I mean, him and Saban changed the game with recruiting for the SEC in the early 2000s. And I don't believe that you have a national championship at Auburn with Cam Newton. I don't think you have a national championship with LSU and Miles without what Urban was doing, because it rose levels to the whole conference. And that's where I think the difference is with the Big Ten. The Big Ten's got two teams. Penn State just hasn't been able to rise up to that. Wisconsin, Nebraska's disappeared. The SEC hasn't done that. You've still got the Alabama and the Georgia, but you've got all these other programs that win natties too. And Florida's obviously one of those. That's what I think separates it. And that's what Urban brought to the league.
I think it's just an important question now with everything that's happening, the landscape of college football changing, the amount of conference alignment that we're still talking about, and just a lot of the moves that the NCAA and college football particularly are having. What do you think is the future of the SEC over the next 5 to 10 years, which I know can be the matter of like 2 months in real life now. But what do you see as the future of the SEC, college football conferences? Because that's probably the one thing that the SEC has had is while they've expanded and added Oklahoma and Texas, for the most part, it's pretty congregated in like the southeastern quadrant, if you will, of the United States. But what do you see with football realignment and everything else happening over the next, few years, changing the SEC and then ultimately changing college football?
Yeah, that's the golden question, right? What's going to happen? And you've got these two monster conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, approaching it in very different ways. The SEC has continued to do what they've always done, which is to keep it in congruous states that are touching each other. Now you got Texas and Oklahoma coming in, and the Big Ten's doing a completely different thing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that anybody knows what's going to happen. Much the same way in the late 80s, nobody knew what's South Carolina and Arkansas going to do to the SEC. What's the championship game going to do? Nobody could foresee that it would put it on this pedestal. I personally don't think what the Big Ten is doing is going to work long-term the same way it will with the SEC, because it's just too far spread out and it's going to dilute it. You're not going to get as excited about a UCLA-Indiana game as you are a Texas-Mississippi State game. Just again, from an outsider's perspective. And so that's where I think 5 to 10 years from now, I think the SEC is just going to continue to do what they do, and they know what they do and lean into that. And the other leagues feel a little bit scattered. So that's what I think is going to happen.
I'm fired up for some midweek UCLA Rutgers baseball, to be honest.
Yeah, that women's tennis flight between Washington and Rutgers is going to hit like crack.
Well, it's funny. If I could just throw one more story in there, when the SEC signed with CBS, nobody thought that was going to work, because it was the first time that a national network, over-the-air network, put the game on in the entire country. The ABC was regionalizing. So the ABC executive at the time, that's like 96, 95, said, nobody in Colorado is going to care about Tennessee playing Florida. He couldn't have been more wrong, right? Everybody cares. Whether you love the SEC or you hate the SEC, you care about the SEC. You don't care about Rutgers playing UCLA. There's just no
football in the South. It just means more down here, man. It really does.
It just means more pennants. So 2 more pennants.
I don't know what pennants you got, but that thing is not vintage, bro. Like, I don't know what that is. I think the book is a great idea. I'm an avid book reader. I think it's a great idea, especially how much college football is changing. And these kids are not gonna know like what our football looked like, the conferences, like all this is good to document. How many books have you written?
This is my second book. This is just my second book. Yep.
Okay.
Hopefully many more.
What motivated you to write this one?
Love college football, love the SEC, and I love to find these little nuggets, these little stories. I'm a huge history buff, so I like to look back and kind of try and figure out, why is this the way it is? And hopefully people enjoy it. Really excited to get it in people's hands.
The ESPN is taking over the SEC starting next year. So that CBS relationship that so many correlate back to, just so many great memories of Vern Lundquist and Gary Danielson and the rest. What do you think that does outside of bringing in a metric shit ton more money for the SEC? But do you think that hurts anyway, or is it is what it is? It's just life now.
I think it could hurt a little bit. That was actually the genesis of the book, is SEC on CBS. I mean, I'm from the West, so out here at 1:30 on a Saturday afternoon, I cleared my schedule and I sat down and watched CBS to see the SEC. Vern Lundquist endorsed the book, which was a great thrill for me to have Vern Lundquist, say that he read it and loved it. So I think it will take a minute for people outside the South to realize, it's not on CBS anymore. Right. We got to find it somewhere else.
Yeah, that CBS intro to the Ohio State Michigan game or whatever was just not. I mean, you got to retire the music, Got to hang that one in the rafters.
Did not slap.
So Colby, before we get you out of here, remind everybody where they can follow you, get the book, and do a quick shout for yourself.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Colb Newton. You can buy the book right now, pre-order it on Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com, and the publisher's website, which is roman.com. But if you love college football, if you like history, and if you like the SEC, you're going to love the book. I think it's a great read.
Awesome. Well, Colby, we appreciate you coming on today. We will be absolutely sure to read your book here in the next couple of weeks. And maybe after the book comes out, we can have a few readers, get it out, have a few people read it and get back on the show to discuss a few of the things that you wrote about it. But we're excited to have it. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on, and look forward to talking with you again.
Awesome.
Thank you, Colby.
Thanks so
Looking
much,
forward to
Colby.
the book.
Take it
Thanks
easy.
a lot, man. I thought it was Shane Matthews when he first came on. I was like, yo, Kobe.
I got
looks
to.
like
Looks like Shane a little bit, man.
I try not to do this in the press box, but I remember the first time I saw Vern Lundquist and Gary Danielson, like back in 2013, didn't say anything. And then when we knew it was going to be Vern's last season, I can't remember what game it was. It might have been Florida, Georgia, his last season, but like stopped him and in the press box and talked to him. Just like thanked him. Like whether people give him like such a hard time, but like that's the Gary Danielson, Vern Lundquist is like the voice I grew up listening to.
Legendary, dog. Like,
yeah.
for real.
It was really cool meeting Vern. Really, really
maybe
nice
we
guy.
could ask Colby.
Ran into him in Augusta as well.
Of course you did. Maybe we can ask Colby for an introduction to Vern. That would be an elite guest to have on the show.
No, that'd be a fire guest. I got a lot of questions for Verns and his announcing the games.
We got Stephen Harris joining us in a minute. I see him in the waiting room trying to figure out some of the audio and visual stuff. So when he gets on, we'll bring him on. There is a super chat question here that I do want to acknowledge from Chase Wester. Always good to listen to y'all, boys. I remember Chase. He's got the fire photo. Always good to listen to y'all, boys. Checking in on wide receiver recruiting. Just had a decommit. I'll mention that, Josiah Abdullah. How do we feel about our board, and who are your top 3 or 4 most wanted? Also, can we acknowledge our top-tier QB recruiting? Go Gators. We did acknowledge top-tier Gator recruiting. Who do you guys have? And Stephen, I see you in the waiting room. We'll get you on in a second. Who do you guys have as some must gets or some players that you're interested in from a wide receiver perspective?
I am not prepared for that conversation.
No, I am. So I will get you guys a few names here. The one name that I know a lot of people are interested in knowing is Cornelius Ingram's son, CJ Ingram, who plays at Hawthorne. I know the Gators are recruiting him to be a wide receiver. I know that he is a big name that is in just around the corner. But maybe we can address that question. I know Cortez Mills is a guy that the Gators are at. Donovan Alugbade from IMG Academy is a guy that the Gators are hard after. Joshua Moore from West Broward High School in Pembroke Pines is also a name. So there's probably a few. Nashawn Montgomery. These are all folks that lead right now in the on-3.
What do you have with Vernell?
Vernell Brown. I think that they're still, trying,
Yeah, I would like to get like a real conversation about wide receiver. Let's bring it to next show, like possibles and what we like and where we at with the recruits as well. Because I don't know where we at with like Vernell and some of these other guys. I haven't been catching up with those guys.
Yeah, let's do that next show. So sorry, Chase. Want to make sure we got your question because you dropped a Benjamin on us. No. Yeah,
Benjamin. Whoa,
no, not a Benjamin. He dropped.
I can answer him now if you got a Benjamin though.
Of Franklin.
I respect the Franklin too.
Yeah. So we'll answer your question next week. I know that there was some discussion about Vernell Brown committing to Ohio State this past weekend. He did not do that. It looks to still be a 2-team race between Ohio State and Florida for him from Jones High School there in Orlando. But with that, Harrison said we're leading for VB3. He's the NIL bag guy. So if we don't get him,
I trust him. I trust Harrison.
So before we do that, let's give a quick ad read to our friends over at Alumni Hall. Go visit alumnihall.com or go visit them on Archer Road if you're looking for anything Florida Gators related, from polos to t-shirts to golf balls to baby bibs to grilling accessories to tents to anything in between. Go check out alumnihall.com. Father's Day is just around the corner, and he doesn't want a tie. He wants a Florida Gators polo from Alumni Hall. So go check them out, alumnihall.com. And with that, we will welcome national champion and Swamp Kings celebrity, Stephen Harris, to the show. Stephen, it's been a long time coming. How are you, my friend?
Steve's he's in witness protection. Black screen.
No. Oh, no.
Him and Nick.
We lost him.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on right now.
Stephen, when you get your audio fixed, or video fixed, we'll get you back on here.
Let's get Nick off the big screen too. He's not ready for the big time yet.
Nick's not. Nick's back. All right, cool.
There we go.
I'm just dying in this house with noise.
You're pretty much in the sauna. Yeah, you're pretty much in the sauna.
I am in the sauna in this house. Yeah. It's just
Nick, who are your top 3 targets for the Gators 2025 recruiting class at wide receiver?
Buddy, we are in full baseball, football mode. Couldn't tell you. Yeah. We can get Keith and Corey on here to answer that for you.
Yeah, why don't you do that for next week? Get them on.
Yeah, line them boys up.
My ability to pay attention to recruiting as I age has been getting harder and harder to do here. Stephen is still dealing with some issues there. Man, looking for some content here real quick while we get it figured out.
We got official visits lined up. Do we have a list of visitors on deck or official visits being set?
Yeah, I can. I'll run through a few that happened this weekend while we wait for Steven's audio to get fixed. There was an on-3 recruiting prediction machine put in by Corey Bender for Jacksonville, Florida, Riverside tight end Tayshawn Gelsey. He is a 3-star. Ranked as the number 38 tight end in the country and the number 79 player overall in Florida. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. The Gators do look to be going with 2 tight ends in this class. He also put in a recruiting prediction machine for tight end Micah Jones, 6'5", 220 pounds, out of Madison Central High School in Madison, Mississippi. So those could be the potential 2 tight ends, that the Gators are recruiting there. So both of them were on site, and Micah Jones just labeled Florida as his number 1 school. Myron Charles was on campus too, a 4-star defensive lineman. He is right now leaning Florida State, but did get the opportunity to spend some extra time around Gerald Chapman. And then he is going to be visiting Florida State on his official visit on June 21st. So the Gators might be just slightly outside on that one. Nashawn Montgomery was also on campus. Nashawn Montgomery is a 6'1", 165-pound wide receiver out of Miami Central. Right now, the on-3 prediction machine has the Gators ahead of Miami, Penn State, and LSU for him. He's the number 243rd overall player. Yeah.
I like his game.
All right. Number 35 overall wide receiver in the country. We did mention Antoine Hill. Go ahead.
Sorry, real quick. That's such a Florida salute. I like Jid a lot. Yeah. That's such a Florida salute. That's like, yep.
That's a real nod.
I know.
Yeah.
That's a nod.
Just want to get that on record. I do like that kid a lot. You know, name matches the athleticism type vibe.
Absolutely.
Is there an apostrophe in that nation or no?
There sure is.
I like him. I like him even more now.
Oh no, there's not. I'm sorry.
Man.
No, that's my fault. Tayshawn Gelsey has an apostrophe in it. TAE apostrophe SHAUN for those on the road looking for that. Antoine Hill was on campus again. A Florida Memphis battle. and Corey Bender did include him in his mock class. SMU commit Keelan Russell.
Can we talk about Antoine Hill? Somebody asked in the comments about is he worth the bidding war that Memphis may bring?
First off, Memphis has FedEx money. There's no bidding war. If it's like an NIL thing and Memphis wants to make a big splash, they have been funded by FedEx. You're not getting in a bidding war.
I say we do the Rashada thing again.
Stop it. Bro, I can't wait till Silk's getting served and deposed. Silk's getting served and deposed.
Let's just tell him something. Let's just get him here, man. Let's figure it out. No, just playing.
Speaking of which, I did get a DM from him, so I think it's important for me to mention. Hal Lewis wanted me to shout out that he will be representing Billy Napier in this case. Fonneville, Lewis, Messer, and McConaughey of Tallahassee is one of 10 dream team firms that forced Big Tobacco into its first ever multi-billion-dollar settlement for the state of Florida in 1997. So they will be doing some representation. Bedell, Dittmer, Duvall, Pillins, and Cox of Jacksonville, the oldest law firm in continuous existence in the state of Florida, and one of the most prestigious, will also be representing one of the parties. And then Clark Partington of Pensacola, a law firm of 50 attorneys with a long history of success in the Northern District of Florida, where this lawsuit was filed, will also be representing the parties in this matter. So we've got at the Tobacco Dream Team, the oldest continuous law firm in Jacksonville, of all places, and then one firm that has a great success in the Northern District of Florida, representing Billy Napier and Marcus Castro Walker, and not Hal Lewis, sorry, and Hugh Hathcock in this matter. So the Dream Team.
My
Dream
dad
Team is wow. Like
my
I haven't seen anything like that since OJ, man. Go ahead, Nick.
My dad was a lawyer, so like it's funny to see this, the going back and forth. I have a lot of friends who are lawyers. Sometimes not recently, but early on in my career as a journalist, felt like I should have gone to law school with the teams I was covering. But this is like the allegations, the allegations brought up in the claim, in the suit, is one lawyer or one team of lawyers getting to say whatever they want to say with no response. And now the other side that is charged will be able to have a response. But like when lawyers are able to just speak freely, you're going to get some very fluffy, boisterous comments from lawyers, which makes it great TV.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for this one.
Rashad is about to get smoked, man. I don't know who their public defender is in this whole thing, but we got super lawyers, and even if we pump faked you, bro, you just gotta take this L, man. You know?
So's like Dream Team. They got Magic and Bird in the courtroom,
bro. They're like, what are we talking about here, bro? Like this guy gonna come in with one public defender with a baggy suit on, man. It's not gonna work.
He's being defended by Rusty Harden.
A baggy suit and alligator skin boots. You know what I mean?
he's being defended by Rusty Harden, who has defended Adrian Peterson and Roger Clemens.
Okay.
Not a public defender. Maybe at one point in his career.
What's his bandwidth like?
Because he got to go against state of Texas, where he lives, but no longer a public defender.
Yeah, this is like Drake versus the the other 30 rappers. It's 1v20, bro. He's not gonna win, man.
JP gave us
settlement on the way. What you think happens, Nick? Settlement on the way?
Settlement. I think they will settle out of court.
Okay.
Yeah, those are some high dollars that are going to be thrown around in this case. If this goes to discovery and goes to trial, that $13 million is just going to be a pittance of what's going to be owed, unless they're doing this pro bono, which who knows. JP,
hiring 20 lawyers to settle is crazy too, though. Like it sounds like they're ready to go to war.
Maybe.
It doesn't sound like they plan on selling this thing. Like
I just don't think either side. Attorneys will posture. I don't think the people but they don't make decisions.
Right.
You have clients, and the clients have to sign off on everything. And I don't think the clients, and the reason why I think that the language was used in the suit was because the clients, specifically the University of Florida and Billy Napier, don't like bad headlines and bad news. And the University Athletic Association, the University of Florida, is run like a Fortune 500 company, and Fortune 500 companies typically stroke checks to make bad headlines go away.
Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to JP. Let Billy spin the block with the pump fake. That was from a little bit ago. So, yeah. No, I appreciate you, JP. That photo gets me every single time.
Every time. I laugh at that photo every time, dog. Like turning Billy into Gucci Man.
It's incredible. All right. Steven's audio and video look to be good on our end. So we're going to try this one more time. We're going to welcome Swamp Kings superstar, national champion, defensive lineman for the Florida Gators, Stephen Harris, to the program. Stephen, we got you.
What's up with you, man?
Hey,
there he is.
Hey, how y'all doing, man?
How you bro?
You doing?
Hey, man, blessed up, man. Good to have you on. Welcome to Stadium and Gale. There we go. What's up with you, man? Cooling? You lagging, dog.
Maybe turn the video off and see if that doesn't help.
Okay, 1 second.
All right.
Hey, man, while y'all at it, man,
Can
don't
you hear me
cost
now?
nothing to show love. Hit that like
we got
button,
you.
subscribe, all of that, man. Liking us don't cost a dime. We appreciate all the bread that everybody's dropping on us this evening and hanging out. We got to start doing more evening shows. The morning vibes is a little different. But Stephen,
please.
Yeah.
Stephen Harris, what's up with it, my guy?
What's going on, man? It's coming through a little bit better for me. Jesus Christ. I couldn't wait to get on. Like, man, come on now. Okay.
You got to show up. All right. Let's, Stephen, I think we're in a little lag, but we'll try to figure it out. Stephen, talk to us a little bit about your origin story. How'd you get into football? How'd you end up playing football for the Florida Gators?
That lag is
I
lagging.
think, you know what, boss? I think I'm going to have to just go on from my phone. I'm not sure if it's my computer.
Yeah.
I'm going to just
It's all
have to
good.
connect
back
straight
on and
from
then
my phone
we'll get you.
and see
We'll get
what's
you.
going on.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got one for you, Dan. Dan, the well-traveled man. While we wait here for Stephen Harris, what should I do in Clemson, South Carolina?
Not a ton to do there. It is a beautiful campus. It is a very picturesque campus. They do have a downtown. Greenville's not all that far away.
Nice.
It is a very, very pretty college town, a really pretty campus. They've got a really cool, archway when you drive into campus. I think that you'll be impressed by Clemson when you go.
Okay. Maybe catch Bible study with Dabo Thursday night.
I think he'll be there. I think he'll be there any day of the week.
And Dabo be hanging out a little bit, man. I be like just watching random Instagram stories from like people around here. So I was watching Jacoby's Ford Instagram story, and somebody from Clemson throwback national championship time was getting married, and Dabo was there getting this groove on a little bit, bro. I was like, okay, he's saved, but he's still party. He still getting his Dan on.
He's saved, but he's still party.
He still parties a little bit, man. He still got that Dan two-step and shit.
Did you see the video of him the other day where he called he didn't know the recruit's name that he was on the video with?
That'll happen. That'll happen. Yeah. You got
I'm just saying
that'll happen. Like if you see it can't happen. It can't happen.
That kid's gone.
But like the way that these things happen, like it's interesting because you'll see as like a recruit is coming through, you'll see like somebody who was like with them like walk ahead and then like talk to a line of people and like walk ahead of the group. And it's like, you're guaranteeing like, hey, this is Corey Knowles. He's from Belglade. He plays receiver, plays cornerback. We really want him. And like giving the info. So like that's more on the person who handed the phone. More on the person who handed Dabo the phone. You got to get the briefing before you get behind the mic.
That's why I got fired for
easy
sure.
to make fun of. All right. Steven's back in the waiting room. Let's see if this works. Steven, we got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. I think we're live. All right, Steven, we're gonna try this again. Tell us a little bit about your origin story and how you made it to the University of Florida.
Oh man, young kid out of Coconut Grove, single parent, 5 brothers and sisters. Started playing football my junior year in high school. Used to watch my brothers and sisters when I was little. My mom met my stepfather. He started his own alarm company, and one day he was like, man, you're always around the house watching brothers and sisters. You need to go do something. So started playing football. I didn't start my junior year. Started my senior year. Had one visit to Missouri. Didn't know that other teams wanted me. Didn't know Florida was calling for me. My school kind of kept it on the wraps that Florida was reaching out to me. But one fateful Friday before signing day, Coach Red Anderson calls my house. I had filled out a questionnaire my junior year to University of Florida, just, put your height, weight, and all that stuff down. And they found the questionnaire with my house number on it. And they called the house, and Coach, I was leaving out the house. My mom was asleep. She had just came home from work. So I was like, they'll get the phone. Then something told me, nah, just turn around and answer it. And it was Coach Red Anderson, said he had been trying to reach me. And it was like, this is the last visiting weekend, but we want you to come to the University of Florida on the trip. I was like, what? Florida? He's like, yeah, no, man, serious. I run upstairs, Mom, tell my stepdad. They're like, you lying, ain't no Florida on the phone. I was like, nah, it's Florida. So my stepdad like, boy, stop lying. I'm like, I'm not lying. So I put him on the phone with the coach, and he was like, yeah, we got a jet waiting for him at this airport in Miami. So I packed my stuff up, get on the plane, didn't go to school that day, and went to Florida, had a great trip.
Let me stop you real quick, Steven. Yeah. You said the school wasn't telling you that Florida was calling? Was that like a Florida-Miami rivalry kind of deal thing?
Nah, it was I had committed to Missouri on my first trip, first official visit. I'm a kid from the hood, didn't know much, haven't seen much, so I go to a college. I'm like, oh, this is everything. They had beautiful Asian women there.
Yeah.
I'm a kid from the hood. I had never seen an Asian woman.
Yeah. In real life.
So I committed. So I was ready to go. I was driving Escalades in the snow. I ain't got no license. Yeah. I'm ready to go. So I was going to Missouri. But I didn't know Florida was calling. Coach Anderson told me that they had been reaching out to the school and stuff like that, but he just felt like something funny was going on. Long story short, something funny was kind of going on. My coaches kind of gave Missouri the commitment that I would go there. I don't know what the exchange was. Don't get me the line, but it was some funny business.
That's hilarious, man. An Asian fetish got you to commit to Missouri. That's insane.
Almost wasted 4 years of your life in Columbia, Missouri.
When you're a kid from the Grove, man, all you got is the Grove. You don't see much. So getting out, seeing mountains and all kind of stuff, it was a beautiful. And I didn't know other schools. Like, I didn't start in my junior year, so I wasn't on the map like that. So I was kind of like a best kept secret for some people. So it was easy to shop me around under the radar. And so I didn't know other schools. I had interest from NC State and stuff like that, but my first visit is the visit I committed, and that from then I was told I couldn't take any more visits. I didn't know that you could verbally commit and still go on other visits. And I had no contact with schools to know, so everything had to come through my school except for the questionnaire. If it had not been for that questionnaire I filled out that had my house number on it, I wouldn't be at Florida.
That's crazy. Now, coming from I'm a South Florida boy myself, so being down here, I know that Miami Well, I'm from Belgrade, so it's like Gator country. But
them up.
you in the thick of Miami country. Were
Yes,
you?
sir.
Did you want that Miami offer? Were you waiting on it? Anything like that? Did you grow up a Miami fan?
Oh Lord, I want to lie, Phil. I
It's a
actually
safe
grew up
space.
watching Florida State.
Okay.
My grandfather, yeah, a lot of people don't know, but my grandfather, Peter Ward Dunn, all those guys, he grew up watching those. So when I would go to his house on the weekends, that's what we would watch. I wouldn't say I was a Florida State fan, but that's the team I would watch with my grandfather.
Right.
Outside of that, in my neighborhood, we wasn't watching no games. We was outside all day. I couldn't tell you who was playing what unless it was a basketball game at night. Football, we were in the streets, so I didn't grow up with a favorite football team at all, really. But for the Miami's, one of my teammates got an offer to play offensive line. I was talking to Miami for a little while, but Coach Randy Shannon ain't like me. he was recruiting me for a little while, but personal reasons, he stopped recruiting me.
What that visit look like when you get to the University of Florida? So they had the jet waiting for you. You fly into town. Like what's Gaines Vegas looking like when you get off the plane and whatnot, man?
Oh man, it just from the jet ride. I've never been to a private airport. You just walk straight on, get on the plane. It's a big old, I think it was an orange Gator jet at the time. It had Gators on the side. Probably sit about 12 people. Me, Tori and Charles, the twins from Miami, South Ridge. We flew to Alabama to pick up a wide receiver. And then we flew into Gainesville. It was dope, man. Just they had all the amenities on the plane. Then you get off the plane, and then just being at university, man. I remember the first dinner we had. They got the fried gator tail. I had never had gator tail fried like that. I was like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. Like, you know what I mean? It was dope. And then just going out in the city, going out to the Palace, old club back then, but having people like Keywan, Gus Scott, Bobby McCray, Rand Carthon, Matt Starks, Clint Mitchell, Marcus Quindle Johnson. Look, man,
Max Starks is one of the biggest humans I've ever seen in my life.
Mike Natil, Bam Harmon, all those guys were here, and I'm 6'5" at that time, like 215. And so I'm seeing these guys, I'm like, these are monsters. I'm supposed to get around these guys. I'm like, man, these dudes are huge. But just having them there and going out and hanging out with them and that experience, man, just like the brotherhood at Florida was unmatched. Like the way they hung out with each other. Like before we all went out, everybody went to the Hawaiian Village apartments, 30, 40 deep hanging out. You know what I mean? Everybody partying. They got us doing all kind of crazy stuff. But
statute of limitations is up, Steven. Go ahead. Feel free. Statute of limitations has run.
Did we match the Asian girl vibes is what I'm trying to figure out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. It was definitely matched. Yeah, definitely. I had, just being a kid from like where I'm from, you don't see much. So you get to Florida and you hit that campus, man. It's one thing for a kid to see, you're around your high school peers, and then you get there, you got seniors and juniors, and some of the, the ladies don't look like little girls. They don't look like high schoolers. So it'll definitely open your eyes a little bit as a young guy coming in, man. So definitely an exciting time. But Florida know how to lay it out, man. Florida
Who hosted you?
What'd you say?
Who hosted you on your visit?
I believe I was with Keywan. I was with Bobby McCray, Keywan, and Rand Carthon. That's like really the guys I was with. I think Rand might have been my host, but I was really with Bobby McCray most because he's from Miami. Him and Corey Bailey and all those guys, they're from Miami. A lot of us came from Miami on that recruiting trip.
Okay.
And our class was a kind of a class that soon Spurrier left. Zook went into Miami heavy recruiting, like who's left? Yeah. I need the guy that nobody talking about. And he came and got us all. So
no, that's fire. So when you get on campus, which players on the team in that class, that recruiting class that you come in that you start gravitating with? Because his football team is one big brotherhood, but you have small cliques on the football team even. So what's that crew like when you first get on campus?
For me, me and my partner Terrence Holmes, he's from New Jersey. He was a wide receiver that moved to safety, but ended up injuring his neck, so he didn't really get to play as much for us. But he was a great player. He was on my visit when we came together, and he kind of requested me as his roommate when they told him that he was getting a scholarship. So that's like one of my dogs, real close friend. So me and him hit it off first, and then we got Ray McDonald. That's my frat brother.
Glade, baby. That's the crib. That's the crib.
Legend of a great Ray McDonald wide receiver senior.
Yeah.
Then Torian Charles, we hung out as my frat brother. We joined as well. Julian Riley. Just far as the young guys, and Marcus Thomas, but he came in a year after me. But that's my best friend. But those are my core young guys. But the older guys embraced me when I first got here, like Rand and Bobby. Those two guys, the ones that embraced me the most and kind of like, gave me the reign. They took me around, showed me all the people, took me all through the city like I was the young guy. I was a little hard head, a little savage guy. So we didn't have a lot of respect in Gainesville. So anytime anybody got out of line, I was that guy that would kind of put them in place.
You the enforcer?
Basically, a little muscle, just a little muscle.
A little muscle. I was just talking with Deontay this past weekend. He said there was a point in time where they got banned from downtown by like the police and whatnot. Did you guys have issues with the locals?
Yeah. When you first got there, it just the respect level was low because we wasn't winning, and so you be in the club, somebody step on your shoe, you be like, hey, you step on my shoe, and they be like, oh man, forget you, F you. You're like, hey, but you ain't gonna say F you? Nah, y'all suck. Oh, okay. All right, can you hold my chain, please?
Yeah. Trying to enforce some things, man.
Yeah. I'm a big respect guy, so and then I try to solve stuff first, but then sometimes people just push it. But I'm a group guy, a big team player, and I love to protect my brothers. I'm gonna go head first for anybody that's on my team, and so anytime something pop off, you could expect me to be right in the middle.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on that energy, bro.
Yes, sir.
Steve, you mentioned guys kind of like took you in. What does it look like though? Because I'm sure it's different getting that respect off the field. Listen, when you're asking someone to hold my chain in the club, you're gonna get respect. You're gonna get respect off the field. But how do you gain it in the locker room? What does that look like for a freshman coming in? Both your experience and then what did you hold guys to once you were the upperclassman?
Just for me, I was never gonna back down from anything. When we first got there, they kind of line all us up, put all the freshmen together, and put boxing gloves on us and say, hey, let's see what everybody got. So I kind of tapped out all the freshmen and then started calling out upperclassmen. And then none of the upperclassmen wanted no problems. So that was easier to set the tone there. So when they got on the field, like all I got to do is learn the technique, but you're not going to beat me in heart. So that was always my thing, man. Go hard as you can. And over time you'll get it, but just stay consistent. You know what I mean?
That wins over anybody. Like, listen, you could be the 7th string walk on, but if you're bleeding in practice and getting back up, you're gonna get respect.
Like I said, I came in 218, and every year I gained. I
came in a small forward playing defensive tackle.
Yeah. I left 288. You don't do that. You don't do that without putting in the work.
Zook used to always ask guests who has the best hands on the team. And
we already got the answer.
We already got the answer.
We already got the answer, dog. Like what a way to start like camp.
I want to interview the new guy. I always ask them who's that guy. I always want to find out who's that guy on the team that's like me.
Who that guy on this team you think this team is? Like on our team right now, who you think?
I think it's Big Cam. But I'm not sure.
Give me teddy bear vibes, man. I don't know. Like I don't know if he's an enforcer. No, I like Cam a lot, but he's a nice guy.
He do smile a lot, but I don't know.
This might be a culture pick for me, but I'm gonna go Jack Pyburn.
That does sound like a culture pick.
He's got a screw loose.
Yeah, Jack Pyburn does like violence, man. He'll run his face into like anything, bro. Like I do like that. I don't know if he's gonna be in clubs saying "hold my chain."
I feel like he's like one of those bare knuckle boxers, right? But I don't know if
UFC vibes. Yeah, UFC vibes.
I don't know
he'll
if
be in the dive bar.
The technique down the fight, man.
He's definitely gonna get down.
Yo, Jack is that guy. If he start arguing with me at like a pool bar or something, like I'm gonna check his ears first, like to make sure. Make sure everything's kosher before I get busy. You know.
Nah, that's a little too much cauliflower up there.
I'll humbly take the L, man.
I think that warrants the question. When Ron Zook went to the frat party to break it up, were you there?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Now, Steve, how much of this story? So it took me years of nagging, begging, bribing Tate Casey, and then eventually several bourbons while we were on the road last year to get like the real story of what happened. How much can you tell us and the people listening about what happened that night?
Statute of limitations is up.
Basically, one of our teammates got beat up at a frat party, beat up pretty bad, and we needed him.
Kind of that same thing you were saying, though. Like, kind of that same thing you were saying, though. Like there was no respect on campus.
Can we say who got beat up or no? That's off limits. No, let's not do that to him. Let's not do that to him. Man, he got a family and kids now. Like, let's not do that. My bad, man.
Because when I say it, I see his face, and I just say,
let's not do that.
And my man had bruises and scars.
That's tough.
No, man, they just stomped my man out. But we couldn't. So we went down there. We had a meeting because they jumped him. You know what I mean?
Oh, they jumped him. Okay.
They jumped my man. So,
that's what I would say if none of my friends was there and I lose. I go back with it was like
every time. Every single time. Every fight you've ever lost, you were jumped.
It's like 5.
Nobody was there, so we had to go have it back. We just marched down there, marched down Frat Row. Zook in the front, we down them with the mall. 40 deep, 50 deep. And he just knocked on the door. You know what I mean? Told him to come out. He's like, y'all.
They said, no, thank you.
Out. Y'all jumped him when he was by himself. Come out now. And they ain't want no smoke. They ain't come out.
Smart guys.
It was a dope moment, though, man.
They're probably successful now, man. They make good decisions.
As somebody that was in a fraternity on Frat Row, I can assure you that they didn't want that smoke.
And I'll just tell you that it was right across the street from Springs Complex, right across from the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them fraternities.
Oh yeah. So
it was I know which fraternity. It's my dad's fraternity.
What's your dad's name?
My dad's last season was my dad's last football season was 1979. It was not him. It was not him.
We hold grudges. People don't forget.
You know what? I was kidding. It was not my dad's fraternity. It sure wasn't. So
Frank's no longer welcome in Gainesville and Stephen Harris.
I can't read Greek. I can't read Greek.
It's on site, Frank. It's on site, Frank.
We pulled the Zook out of retirement.
I'm sorry, Dad.
So, what was Zook like as a on-field coach, off the field, all of that? Give us some runs, Zook.
Oh man, just amazing, high energy. Just a guy that'll get you fired up. You know that he has your back. He was a great coach for us, and we experienced some great moments. Our offense was pretty decent during the Zook era. I believe we lacked on defense. We lacked a lot of fundamentals and a lot of technique just from experience of being there and the coaches, that we had. You love the coaches that you have, but when people come in that's better, it's just evident. The stuff Coach Madison taught us versus Coach Red, those shots. I mean, the game changes, it evolves. Sometimes it's some time for people to exit, but during that time, it was really our defense that let us down because we put up the points. And Zook was a great motivational coach. He just was, like I said, a player's coach. You could talk to him about anything. and he would respond to you, wouldn't look down on you. You didn't feel like he was way above you, but you had respect for him because you know he was feisty. Like he'd get in your face, like he hold my chain. You know what I mean? Like Zook could be the guy telling somebody to hold his chain. So you respected him like that. You know what I mean? So I loved him as a coach. I know y'all probably see a picture floating around with us carrying him off the field when we beat Florida State. You know, just his loyalty to the team, and it showed when he went down to the frat house with one of our guys getting jumped. You know, he just got a real sense of unity and that brotherhood bond, and he brings that when he was on the team.
What was it like to transition to Urban Meyer then?
It's like going from do what you want to do to a army sergeant.
Discipline.
Strict protocol, but necessary because we had all the things, we just didn't have discipline. And if you're trying to teach technique, that come with discipline, and that's what we were lacking. But he was able to convince us with proof. You know, Urban has a formula book that he will show you where all his stuff will work to the formula if you just do what he tell you to do. And if you can get that across to somebody, it's gonna work, and it's worked everywhere he's been. So, but just his mentality, the psychology part was tricky. I didn't like at first. I'm not a guy that play mind games with me. Just keep it real. I grew up in a tough enough neighborhood to where if I feel like you're playing mind games with me, I'm probably not gonna like you. But if you just keep it real with me, we'll probably get along a lot better. And it was a learning process at first. You know, him coming from Utah, dealing with a different type of demographic, to coming to Florida. And you got all these guys from Miami, South Florida, where we don't do the whole mind game thing. It was a little rough at first, but the way he had us working like machines was necessary. And,
hey, I had a conversation with Deontay that he talked about some of the workouts that didn't make Swamp Kings. I want to save that for Thursday, but he talked about some insane workouts. But I do want to ask you, I remember like when Zook got fired and they hired Urban Meyer, guys like even Crowder wasn't really feeling the vibes of Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
What was he like when you first came in? Were you buying in right away? Because I know also he's trying to weed out the bad apples as well. Right. So what's that transition like for you in that aspect?
Well, first, you know, you in shock that somebody got fired. You don't think it's gonna happen while you're there. You know what I mean? So it's like, dang, right. And like you don't know what's going on, who leaving, who gonna stay. But when he came in, I don't know, he just had an aura about him to where he just ain't take no nonsense. He had a list of every player who had been in trouble, who had done what. In his first meeting, he made every player that had done something wrong stand up in the meeting. He had your parents in there, family in there, and said that you might not be on the team, and that you could possibly leave today if you don't get it together. So, and yeah, you know, everybody was invited to the meeting, and he didn't hold no punch. And one thing about Herb is he gonna call you out in front of everybody. So you either gonna be accountable for what you're doing, or you know what I mean, you gonna shape up and ship out. So that. Just doing that, you know what I mean? Kind of, you know, I ain't gonna say spook you a little bit, but kind of make you like, okay, whatever. But as far as like the workouts work with us because we were already had that mentality. Like we were already dogs, like we were already gonna annihilate you anyway. So all the yelling they were doing to make us work out just was feeding what we already had. So that wasn't that was the easier part, but getting us to believe them. Took some growing pains and having some one-on-ones and him bending on some of his non-negotiables. You know what I mean? Just realizing that, hey, some players are different. And once we seen some of that, it made it easier to trust in him. But he came in with no nonsense off rip, man. And that kind of gets you in line. You're like, I'm here to do a job. You know what I mean? Put everything in perspective for you when you start kicking people off the team.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're not getting paid at that point.
I think Champ tried to do that with Janoris right away. And everyone was kind of just like, no, not him.
Yeah, you chose the wrong guy.
You chose the wrong guy to make a point, bro.
It doesn't work all the time. I mean, I quit my senior year. me and Herb got into it. We about to have a fight in the meeting room. And I quit for like 2 months. I came back right before 2 days. Coach Madison, shout out Coach Madison. He used to take a scooter to my classes every day to tell me to come back to the team. He was saying, hey, man, the people just not acting right. They're not responding right. They're not practicing right. You need to come back. Herb was telling me I wasn't going to play. I was like, nah, I ain't coming back. And Madison was like, just come back, man. Don't worry about it. I'm your coach. Just come back. And I ended up coming back and smashed out all 2 days. And eventually, you just couldn't deny it. But it was a great learning point for me and Herb just clashing. But he wanted the best for me. But just the way his approach, how he came at me, I didn't agree with. He was basically like saying, if you keep doing this, you're not going to succeed. Like, you need me, you're going to be dead or in jail. And I felt like that was an indictment, like, to my mom, She raised beautiful kids and all us successful doing it. And so I didn't feel like I needed nobody. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'll show you. I'm going to keep going to class. I'm going to graduate. But I don't have to come play football for you. And but I ended up coming back just, my teammates. I love them. But, it was more about finishing what I had started than Herb. And I had to, put my pride aside. But I took a stance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, sometimes in life you have to take one. But it worked out, man. And we got a great relationship now.
That goes back for me to something you said earlier. You're like, listen, I'm about respect. And that might be Urban trying to motivate in a way, but if you're a coach and you've got 100 kids in the locker room, you might have to say that one message you have 100 different ways. Yeah. So he might have played a hand with you that he thought would work. And it's like, yo, this is mad disrespectful. I don't have to sit here and take this. You don't know me. I don't know you. Don't talk to me like that.
Yeah, and I walked out, called my mom, I quit. She said, what?
Coaches are some of the most inappropriate people in the world. Like, I've had some coaches telling me some insane things, man.
Especially some of the coaches on that staff. Yeah.
For real. But, and you have different personalities, different people on the team, and you got to find a way to get to them, especially when you're trying to instill extreme measures into people.
Yeah.
And so it's a tough decision. I don't fault. That's why I love him for doing it. You know what I mean? And he wanted to see me graduate and stuff, but just the way it came across to me, communication is everything. And sometimes you may miss the ball, but you be man enough, come back and circle the wagon, and we go win a championship together.
Man, I mean, what you're talking about is just like what we talking about, like developing men. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like all of that, like swallowing your pride, all that's just men for things that's just good character building to go on in life, in general, in the future. So that's dope. But give me a Crowder story, man. I know y'all hung out a little bit.
Lord.
Wild boy, he had hands too. So
was Channing involved in your hazing?
Yeah, they both were like, hey, y'all hold our chains type.
Look, bro, been doing his homework. Look.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Crowder crazy, man.
100%. 100%.
Crowder crazy.
Channing Crowder told me one time he would make freshmen go swim in Lake Alice.
Look, we have.
Nuts,
look.
That's crazy.
He was. All right, the best way.
I don't care how big and bad you. I'm not getting in the lake with alligators.
Crazy.
But to him, that's fun. That's nice Tuesday morning.
Yeah, he crazy. He country city crazy. Like from like the Atlanta area, but be in the country in the woods, go hog hunting. Like my first time hog hunting, I think it was him and Brian Crum. We go hog hunting, catch a hog with our bare hands and dogs. No guns, just bare hands and dogs, no guns.
Yeah.
Look, calling little barrel holes, but man, I got so many stories for Channing, man. He's a wild guy, man. He busts bottles on his head. He busts a Corona bottle on his head like nothing. Consecutively, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row.
He's just trying to break down the glass for recycling. That's all he's trying to do.
One incident, we was at the club and some guys were trying to start something. And he was like, you don't want none of me, and just started busting the bottles on his head.
Oh my God.
You're probably right, bro.
And they didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, you're right. Can I get my check?
Yeah.
Get up out of here, man.
Upon further review, After the challenge, yeah, you're right. Don't want none of you.
Yeah, but no, yeah,
I don't like
man.
these people that see football players and be like taunting them and talking crazy are different. Like I remember one time I had some Antonio Rouse jokes on the timeline. I was like making like jokes about how small his hands are, right? So like 2 weeks later, I'm in Gainesville just chilling at a bar. And he walks up to me like, "Oh, it's funny, man, Silk." I'm looking at this dude, I'm like, "Hey, man, listen, man, I don't have to go to the car and get no pistol or nothing like that, dog. But I do not want to fight you, bro." He's just like, "Nah, it's all love, man. You funny." But people that try to fight football players, y'all different. And I'm not trying to do that, man.
Yeah, no, it's a different mentality, man, to go out there and butt heads with somebody every day, man.
100%.
Yeah.
We had somebody mentioned that Earl Everett. So Q Lee is a listener of this show. He's friends with Earl Everett. He mentioned that you and Jermaine Cunningham were the wild boys of the team. Jermaine was a good buddy of mine in college. Got to meet him. He lived right across at Springs from my best friend. So we got to know him really well. Jared Face in that group during Summer B. I never knew Jermaine as a wild guy. He was just kind of proper. So I got to hear some Jermaine Cunningham stories because I missed these in the 4 years that him and I were pretty close friends.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, man. He's one of my frat brothers. Brought him under my wing as well. So he is cut from the cloth.
Y'all put him in the lake? Y'all put him in Lake Alice?
No. Jermaine, he's one of those guys that got away with not having to do that type of stuff. You know what I mean? There's a couple guys that slid on the radar that didn't get the taunting. But Jermaine, he's just a cool guy, man. But he's I won't say he's wild. He's like me though. He's gonna go to war for his teammates. He's not nobody's gonna start no trouble at all.
Unless you're at Jimmy John's. And if you're at Jimmy John's, you start something.
He was hungry.
He just wanted his sub, you know what I mean?
But nah, he's a good guy, man. My frat brother.
Want to talk about the well, we also had another question. Who's your most hated rival?
The what?
Your most hated rival.
Oh, Florida State, easily.
Okay.
Yeah. I can tell you why too. 2003, they come to the swamp and we really whooping them, but they cheating. I think they called like 3 turnovers that we had back, overturning a lot of stuff. And so this is when PK Sam catch the touchdown in the back of the end zone. Chris Ricks throw it up, I believe. And they score, and they swarm the field and start jumping up and down on our logo. So here I go, red shirt freshman. I'm out in the middle of the field.
Time to enforce shit. Yeah, it's time to enforce some things.
He pushed Marcus Thomas, and I'm telling him, "Hey man, y'all cheated. Get off our field." They're like, "Oh, shut up." So he pushed Marcus. So when he pushed him, I hit him with like a 2-piece, beep, 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 and the ball broke out. And that's when you see people getting hit in the heads with helmets and all that stuff. And that's when they stole the Gator head and left the stadium with the Gator head in the air. So from that moment on, I hated Florida State and never liked them ever since then.
I respect that, man.
Q says that you might have a story with Darnell Dockett.
It's up there 2003 on YouTube if you look at it.
I don't know. I remember that as a kid. I remember that vividly. Like, like watching that happen. You know what I'm saying? That was one of those midfield brawls.
Yeah.
That's legendary in the rivalry, bro. That's
dead center. I set it off. I threw the first 2.
You were the match that lit that fire.
Yeah, you ain't gonna cheat on us and then celebrate. Not on my home field.
What happens in the locker room when y'all get in the locker room after that? Coaches
still fired up. Yeah, they trying. One of our trainers got hit in the head with a helmet. We had Zook. So we were
last game of the season kind of, you got a bowl game, but it's really like last game of the season type vibe.
Yeah.
So
we really were trying to get out that other door to get to that.
Yeah, that visiting locker room is not far. That south end zone for fans who haven't been there. So let
us in the exit.
Yeah,
for fans who haven't been down there, Steven, that south end zone, you're like a 35-second walk, maybe 20-second walk from the home locker room to the visiting locker room, and it's all under like that parking structure. Under the walkways. But wouldn't take a longer drive to get to Pi Kappa Phi than it would have been to get to the Florida State locker room.
Yeah, they had a bunch of security back there though. They had it down tight. They tore our locker room up though.
Darnell Dockett and Frank on site now.
Right.
Stephen, what I want to ask about Swamp Kings. I want to talk about the national championship and everything else in those memories, but want to talk about filming Swamp Kings. How did that come about? Obviously, you had a very prominent role. You were featured very, very heavily, especially in the first 2 episodes. Not that you became an overnight sensation. A lot of Gator fans really, knew your name and everything else in that season. But like, you blew up, bro. You were not the person that I thought would be the spokesperson and face of that documentary. And you did a fantastic job. Talk to us a little bit about that process, how they reached out to you, why you decided to do it. Just talk to us a little bit about that journey.
I had no idea that it was happening at first. They actually reached out to my wife. I don't know how they got her information. When they called her, was like, "Hey, we're looking to see
your high school coach."
The high school was blocking numbers still.
She was like some foreign company calling you talking about filming. And so I get on the phone with them. They said they doing the documentary. I didn't believe it at first. I was like, it was Raw TV. So I go do my research and I'm like, okay, it's a real company. And they couldn't tell me that it was going with Netflix. So they were just telling me, trying to hint to it. But I was like, are they being serious or whatever? But then I was like, whatever, I'll do it. I just felt if they came to me, anything to do with winning the championship, I'm just anything for the team. And I know the part I played during that time, just in the community of Gainesville, on the team, whether not stat-wise or stuff like that. There's other people that get to have the limelight, but I know I was like a heart and soul of the team. And so if they needed my story, I was like, I'll do it. And then as I started getting more involved with them, they was asking me if I could be in contact with other people for them. And of course, I got everybody's number or could reach almost everybody. So I started putting them in contact with other people. But they already had guys I didn't know that shows that they wasn't going to be on there. And they all had their reasons. And the documentary was supposed to be different than it came out to be. I didn't know it was going to be like, I filmed with them for like 3 days, like 4 or 5 different locations. I had them all in different neighborhoods in Tampa and kind of told my backstory, but none of it made it on there. As far as that, my story goes or whatever, because once they found the film of us working out, someone had that film still at the stadium. And they found that, and that kind of changed the whole dynamic of the video. Yeah, because when you have that much content like that, it's like, whoa, wait, these people choking people out. Like there's a lot of film stuff that they couldn't show, and that they went through just to edit it down. And so that was just like a treasure trove for them, and they kind of changed how it was going to be presented. And they emailed me and apologized and was like, hey, we got to take a lot of the stuff out. It's not going to be what you thought, but we still got you in there. I was like, all right, cool. It was dope. But
Steven, I want to ask you a question because I know a lot of Gator fans thought it was going to be one thing, and then they thought the tide changed when Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow signed on to be in the documentary. That there's no way that this is going to be anything but, I'm going to call it a puff piece, right? It was more than that, but you're saying that it was also due to all the footage that they found and everything else. Take me back to when you originally did the filming across the beautiful, great city of Tampa. What was the premise originally supposed to be?
I had them in the hood. I told them the story about me and Urban about to get in the fight, me quitting the team, our struggles. Talked about when I went to jail at Florida with me and Tanner Crowder for the fight after the spring game in 2003. I kept it raw. And it just didn't make it. Talked about growing up in the hood. I had them in the hood of Tampa at little mom and pop stores, laundromats, 18 crackheads, and all kind of stuff. So it was supposed to be a real raw piece. Raw TV does real documentaries, not puff pieces. And so the stuff that they the film that they have, I wish I could get from them because they got the real stuff.
We'll have to do our own.
Need to get the rights. Listen to that, but Dan's already in town.
Yeah,
Dan's already in town.
Stevie, you live here now?
I'm in Tampa.
Very good. We'll have to link up. Talk to us about the national championship a little bit. Obviously, Gators go in as underdogs. First play of the game, Ted Ginn runs one back. What's going through y'all's head at that moment? Obviously, I know the tide changed very, very quickly. You guys go down, march down the field, and score. But what's going on in your head during that time?
They held Reggie Nelson, and we finna smash him.
I love it.
Yeah, no, we wasn't concerned at all. Just from watching, our coach didn't let us watch film of them until like a week and a half before the game. We had over a month to prepare. They didn't let us watch film till a week and a half because in our defensive line room, as soon as they put the film on, we started laughing. We was like, we gonna eat these boys alive. They were too slow. They splits were too big. Their gaps were too big. We just knew they wouldn't be able to handle us at all. We laughed and just knew we would smash them.
That's what I was telling everything you saying right now. As a fan, I was saying that to all my homeboys. They like, y'all about to get killed. I'm like, man, I don't know what the hell y'all looking at. They slow.
Yeah.
We got more speed. Like we about to put these boys in the blender.
Here's one thing, Steven, if you can talk about this a little bit. Urban said we're gonna be the fastest team in America, and I think that game specifically, people were like, oh, the SEC speed is different. And we think about Deontay Thompson, Chris Rainey, Jeff Dems, Percy Harvin, but it's speed at linebacker, it's speed at edge, and speed inside. Like even guys at defensive tackle. What was it like playing against that, practicing against that? I graduated high school with Major Wright, and he would always say Saturday was the gift.
Facts.
Like our practices were harder because of the guys who we had on that team than anyone we faced on Saturday. Saturday was the reward and the gift and the easy part. Yeah,
that's what he's telling the truth. That's why I encourage the guys that are coming to Florida now. You got all these top picks, number one, this. Then when you want to practice against that, you don't want to go somewhere where you're going to practice against sorry people and then play against good people on Saturday. That's the total opposite of what you want to do. You want to be busting heads every day in practice and get to the game and it'd be easy. And that's what we did. We all had egos on the line. We would bet every play who's going to get off the ball the fastest at the defensive line, and watch the film in practice and see who moves the fastest. Like, so on the ball twitch, who's getting off the ball the fastest every play. And we tally. And
money exchange hands? Is money exchanging hands there?
No. It was friendly. It would have if we had these new NILs guaranteed. The Pell Grants made it around in talk sessions, but
bro, that's wild. We're throwing Pell money around on the table, playing talk. We're playing spades, throwing Pell money around. Ooh, what was it like then? Saturday? Or not, sorry, I guess the game was Monday. You get there, you know what you guys are, then you get in there, you see that first play, and I'm sure a bunch of Big Ten fans are saying, yeah, there's your SEC speed, look at Ted Ginn. How quickly did you guys realize, or was it already realized watching film? How quickly did you realize in game, oh, these guys can't hang with us?
Yeah, just first play.
Reggie Nelson hold.
But when we actually get, get on, our offense goes and drives, takes the drive and goes down and scores and answers the bell. And then we get on defense and just from first play. Once you smash, when you get off the line and you smash a guy and he don't say nothing, you got him. So from first play, all across the board, all our defensive linemen were confident that it was a mismatch across the board. And so once you feel like that, you kind of know it's over up front. Once you know that they can't move you up front, even on double teams, it's kind of nothing you can do. And they had great players. They had a great offensive center that year. But we were just built different, man. We had a unity that was unmatched. Our whole defensive line hung out with each other every day, every single day. Everybody hung out with each other. And so we just had a real brotherhood that, we was going to go to war. And we would talk crap to them as a unit, make little threats. But, tell them don't put your hands on me, sell them out, talk about their mama, all kind of stuff. So we were more just intimidating out there. And once nobody talked back, we kind of knew we had them.
Bro, that's got to be the worst feeling, to get a face mask shoved into your chest first play and like slowly or quickly come to the realization like, oh my God, we've got 58 more minutes to play.
Yeah. That was my job. Every play I line up over the center, as soon as the ball snap, I try to use my helmet to smash his neck into his shoulders every snap until he give up. So.
And the boys at rehab in downtown Gainesville thought they could take you on. I'm telling you what.
Yeah, they was gonna end
rehab
up
was
in
the name of a bar. Sorry.
No, they was gonna end up in real rehab. Like,
that's
a throwback. Yeah, guy bar.
100%. What was Chris Leak like? I know he was there most of the time. Like your time, like being the leader in that locker room. I know Tebow came later. Quiet guy, doesn't really say a lot. I know he's not a rah dude, but from your perspective, what was he like?
Just a solid teammate. Like you said, he wasn't a rah guy. He wasn't the guy that was out partying. He wasn't at none of the clubs with us. But we knew on Saturday and in practice that he was going to be on point. Very, very smart player. Knew what to do with the ball. Knew how to get rid of the ball. So we just knew he was very reliable. You know what I mean? And threw one of the prettiest balls I ever seen.
The prettiest ball. I don't think there's a close second. The prettiest spiral you'll ever see.
Ever. He always hold that title for me. And when you got people to come in and the media gave it a bad rap for how their relationship was, but Leak's that guy, man. We all love him, and he did great for us, man. And he won that championship for us. He was our leader that year in 2006.
No doubt. So y'all get back to Gainesville. How different is it for you guys? I know you guys were treated one way. You say y'all went winning games, so they stepped on y'all shoes and whatnot in the club. So now y'all don't want a natty. Are they watching where they step?
Oh man, look, they can't step. They can't step. It was amazing, man. Just getting off the plane, everybody being at the airport, then getting back in the city, having to have security on campus because basketball had won, then we won. And, it was just crazy. People flying into Gainesville just because they know they could run into the players, going to classes and stuff. So you had to have people out there with helmets when you sign stuff, all on campus while you're going to class. Yeah. It was great, man, going to the clubs, open bar. Everything free.
They can't sanction you now, bro.
It was a great time, man. Hey, they know they love college football. They will sanction everybody. So it was a great time, man. One of the greatest moments ever. And then basketball win it again shortly, and so the city just
nuts,
crazy, man, crazy. I never experienced anything like it in my life. The parades, the parties, it just was bonkers, man. You can go in the club and people flashing you.
You to sign. We got to get back to winning if that was happening.
It's Mardi Gras every day.
Y'all want to win.
Y'all need to win. Trust me, they flashing,
y'all
bro.
Start winning. If any of y'all listen, y'all players, start winning, man. Tell you. Win you some football games.
It's gonna save your shoes and everything, man.
In a couple change.
100%. And that's been a great conversation, man. I appreciate you pulling up. I know me and you had we spoke about it on Spaces before.
Yes, sir.
And we talked about it on Twitter as well on the timeline. We had our differences, but it was nothing. I think that crazy at the time. I thought things got blown out of proportion, but cooler heads prevailed. We've had several conversations behind the scenes, man. But I appreciate you for coming hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
No, man. Thank you, man. Likewise, man. I love y'all, man. I appreciate you, man. I've been watching y'all show, man. You know what I mean? And y'all keep up the great work, man. I definitely appreciate y'all having me. and looking forward to linking up with y'all in the future, man.
Hey, tailgate, pull up.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
sir.
hanging out.
Look,
Vibes,
yeah.
content.
I see you got the spot, so yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah, pull up, man. We hanging out. We hanging out.
We'll do that. Maybe
no
we can shoot
kidding,
some
man.
content here in Tampa. We can get Silk over here. I know he loves the vibes. Nick's not a
I love
Tampa, not a Tampa fan. So
I love Tampa.
maybe we can do something. Maybe we can get
Yeah, we'll link up, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
I love Tampa.
Awesome.
I gotta come out there to DVD anyway, so let's figure it out, Dan. I'll pull up.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
make it happen.
Let's do it. Awesome. Well, Steven, I think everybody that listens to the show probably follows you on Twitter and knows where they can find you. Just shout out where they can follow you, and we definitely appreciate you coming on today.
I think I'm on Twitter at FamoGame365.
Sounds about right.
I've been butting too many heads.
I've been there, done that, bro. Good luck. Have fun.
We appreciate
FamoGame365.
I love it, man. We appreciate you for coming on, Steven. We'll definitely shoot some content, do some more with you in the future, man. But have a great rest of your evening. Thanks so much, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. And go Gators.
Go Gators. Hell of an interview, man.
Man, that was fun. That was
fun.
fun as hell. Appreciate Stephen for pulling up, man.
Stadium and Gale after dark really just it hits different.
It did,
buddy. This morning show, I've been against it the whole time.
Yeah,
I've been against it forever.
I'm not against bringing it back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we gotta go towards the evenings. I'm with it.
All right, so we're nearing the end of the show. I do want to give a shout out to Urban Meyer, Alex Brown, and Brad Culpepper, who are on the ballot for the 2025 induction to the College Football Hall of Fame. All three probably deserve to be in there. I would imagine that Urban will be a first ballot.
I think that would also I think Urban's ticked every box except for that to be in the UF Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor.
The Ring of Honor.
That day is coming.
Yes.
I think we kicked that off.
I think we did. You know what I mean?
We kicked that off.
I know, Nick, you weren't on the show yet. We had a mod. We did his first ever post Florida interview for an hour and
post
10 minutes.
all together.
I think he wanted to chat for about 20 minutes, and we kept him for an hour and 15.
Held him hostage.
Held him
hostage, man. He's like, yeah, Ahmad, I got 20 minutes for you. I was like, yeah, we're gonna squeeze at least an hour out of this, man.
Yeah. But we have had Brad Culpepper on the show. We've had Urban Meyer on, so we got to get Alex Brown onto the show. There are
I've DM'd him like 4 or 5 times, to be honest with you, and just
he's been on a few shows.
He likes it and all. I'm like, bro, you like it? Say yes. What does that mean? What the heart mean?
Yeah, that's right. Urban Meyer, Alex Brown, and Brad Culpepper. That decision will be made. Voting deadline is July 1st. There are 12,000 people that get to vote for it. Seems like a list that could be trimmed down. Nick, were you invited to vote?
I have a Ray Guy Award vote.
Okay.
Nick, how are you not one of 12,000?
Do you really got that?
NFF members?
You really got that vote?
I voted for the Ray Guy for the last 7 years.
Okay.
Buddy, this is the propaganda.
I respect Ray Guy for knowing your game. They know you. They know your shit. I like it.
No, I do not have that. I must be 12,001 or plus 12,001 plus on the list.
So I guess
they say you're too negative to get the vote. That's what the streets are saying.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that is the National Football. Where did I just read it? National Football Foundation. So it sounds like you need to join the National Football Foundation. Seems like a good organization for you, a football writer, to be a member of, but I don't know anything. John Wilcox is asking, Nick, are you still picking UCF over Florida? Silk was not on the show when we talked about it.
I would not allow it
last week. So
I would not allow such nonsense on my watch.
I just said I'm kicking the idea around. I'm not even in the store in the fitting room trying the pants on yet.
This is alumni propaganda from you, bro. I know what you're trying to do here, man.
Was walking by and look, ooh, hey.
You're like, all of a sudden Abercrombie has the lights on.
Yeah.
It's no longer this dark store that smells like Fierce, and you're like, I might be intrigued to go back in.
Bro, that is probably becoming a very niche joke, but I appreciated it. Is Abercrombie still around?
Yeah. The Abercrombie is around. They've completely changed their look. Their stock's going up. I won't say through the roof because I don't know that for sure. But they've rebranded and redone themselves. So
for our younger listeners, there used to be these things called malls, which would have several dozens of retail stores. Abercrombie would just have like half naked teenagers wearing their clothing, or some of their clothing, not a ton of it, just like standing in front of the store, standing in the mall.
Yeah, they were the bodyguards. They were determining if you were hot or not to go in the store. One thing that I did read the other day,
I was about to say that, but I'll let Callie Burby just say it, man.
I read an article that the other day that said, I'm going to see if you guys can guess. What do you think is one of the biggest indicators of if a mall is going to be successful or not? It is a store or a restaurant. You have to pick one.
A store or restaurant that
if this mall has it, it is vastly more successful than malls that don't have.
And it's not one of the foundation, one of the corner stores.
No. It is a store or a restaurant. I'll trim it down for you guys. It is a restaurant. It is a restaurant.
Okay.
Could be in the food court. Could be a standalone.
Ooh.
Could be in the food court. Could be a standalone. That's tricky.
Give me.
And today, this is like malls nowadays.
Correct. Malls nowadays.
Is it California Pizza Kitchen?
That's a good guess. You're kind of on the right track.
Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. I said CPK was a good guess, but Chick-fil-A.
The answer is Cheesecake Factory.
Bro, Caliburbia. Big Bird vibes.
Yeah,
I don't have any malls around here with Cheesecake Factories.
Well, that's why they're going out of business.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, okay.
Cheesecake.
My demographic is canceling Cheesecake Factory, so I don't know. Like,
what?
Yeah.
Why?
Dinner's too cheap for dates.
I did.
That's
see
wild.
Yeah, you remember that thing? Yeah, that was a
That's
thing.
crazy.
Yeah. So, there was a study that was put out. There was a study that was put out. 93% of loans backed by malls with a Cheesecake Factory are current on their payments. Just 72% of malls without one are current. So, Cheesecake Factory is the right answer.
The Mall of Millennia got a Cheesecake Factory? I don't think the Mall of Millennia has a Cheesecake Factory. I seen one there.
I don't know. It's not the only indicator.
Okay.
I
seen JP put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, JP was.
We got cheek checks. We got cheesecake checks now.
Cheesecake check. That's why the Brandon Mall is still open. JB, I have no reason to understand why the Brandon Mall is still open. But
I think the lease of what a Cheesecake Factory may be at the mall just floats everything. Like that's a big enough lease to keep everything afloat.
Yeah.
Dan, what was that? It wasn't a mall, but what was that little when you were a Coral Springs hood rat running around in your high school days? What was that? There's like a little strip area. There's like a Jamba Juice.
The Walk.
Yep, there it is. That's where Dan was running around doing hood rat stuff with his friends.
Hood rat thing with the hood
in
rat
high
friends?
school. Yep, that was the spot.
Nick was doing hood rat things with his friends at the Runyons, which in Coral Springs, it is a top shelf restaurant.
Allegedly.
And Nick was doing square ups in the parking lot. At the Allegedly.
Allegations.
Right, this show has gone off the rails. Yeah, Nick, you got to go tell your dad he's on Steven's Fade on Sight list.
You got your dad a whole fight lined up, man.
I'm getting written out of the will.
We haven't done a 2-hour show in a very, very, very long time. So we appreciate everybody for watching. We appreciate everybody for the super chats. Appreciate everybody for liking and subscribing. Stick back with us next week. We're going to do some more interviews. We're going to figure out timing to figure out what makes sense for everybody. And then I'm going to Montreal next week. So if you've ever been to Montreal and have any recommendations, let me know. Other than that, we will see you guys the same corner, same time next week. We'll have details soon about a tailgate for the Miami game. Stay tuned to Flow Factory on YouTube for Deontay Thompson interview, but check out all their other interviews. They're doing a fantastic job over there as well. So shout out to Silk.
Y'all tune in Thursday. We dropping absolute gas. Some great just storytelling perspectives from Deontay Thompson, foot races, workouts. Just I thought it was one of the best interviews. What we did today was gas as well. So I'm I'm on a Gator high right now. For
we
sure.
got to do that. We got to do one in person as well. So with that being said, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for staying tuned. We will see you guys at the same corner, same time.
You get no song, bro. Nobody got a song?
Oh, Nick, you got song of the week.
Yeah, see?
Song of the week. Oh, yeah. While you think, go visit Home Field Apparel. Use promo code Stadium and Gale at checkout. Go visit Alumni Hall in Gainesville or alumnihall.com. And if you are a sponsor and you want to, or if you have money in your business and you want to promote yourself, we've got a great opportunity here. Feel free to reach out to any of us and we'll let you know what that looks like. So, Nick, what do you got?
Not often does this happen. The GOAT. The real GOAT. Well, top three.
Okay. Your music goats have been suspect. I'm be honest with you.
Top 5 rapper of all time. Eminem released a very early 2000s-ish sounding song. I think he's going to be coming out with a whole new album.
Yeah, The Death of Slim Shady.
Houdini by Eminem.
Okay.
It's gonna be definitely. I'm checking that out. I didn't know Eminem had to work on these streets.
The Megan Thee Stallion fans were upset because he mentioned her feet getting shot at, and I said, "Welcome
I gotta
to the
listen
past
now.
25 years of
Guys,
Eminem."
please. That's if we go back to what he was saying about like Fred Durst, Christina Aguilera.
I'm gonna tell you something.
You know, we got to listen. Q Lee, we're taking the basketball away. Statements like that, the shots you've been putting up in the gym.
Yeah, Q Lee getting some work. Is the most overrated rapper? Nah, it's some overrated rappers of all time that I got on my list. And I don't think Eminem makes it. I'm not a big Eminem fan, but just from pure rap skills and rhyming, like I can't relate to I want to kill my girlfriend or my mom. I can't really relate to that music. It's dark. It's dark. But he's a funny guy. He also he can put bars together. But all these super fans that go crazy for celebrities, that's a different world, and I think it's hilarious.
They don't know you, bro.
They do not know you.
They don't care.
Yeah, musicians, politicians, they don't know you.
They do not know you, man. Go touch some.
You're not on their payroll.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. Thanks everybody again. Saying farewell for the final time today. We'll see you guys same corner, same time next week.